All right, guys, let's check out day one on the paint booth. Not bad for day one. So you got the outside here, man door entrance. All right, so this is the corner that we actually started on. We laid out the floor, and then we started on this corner, on this back wall. We connected a couple pieces there, a couple pieces there, and then we started building this section to actually make a corner so it could actually hold itself stable. And then once we kind of had a structure that was holding itself, we just kept adding on. So we just kind of wrapped around, and then we started doing the overhead pieces. This exhaust housing here is just loose right now. We're not going to screw it in yet till the end because we still have the booth fan to install. And there's some holes up there to mount the fan, so we still got to be able to access that. So there it is, guys. Day one. So this is the morning of day two. We have plans to finish the ceiling of the intake, maybe get some doors hung and possibly some lights too. We'll see. We did have to use the ladder to kind of support the ceiling as it got heavier. Now when you get this booth, it gives you one man door, and you can pretty much mount that door anywhere you want. We chose to mount it there, but you could mount it on the opposite side as well. It is good to put it on the exhaust side. That way when you open the door, if any dust particles or anything off your clothing or anything from the outside atmosphere comes in, it just goes out the exhaust versus pulling across your job out the exhaust. So mounting the man door here is definitely ideal for a cleaner job. It looks great. I'm very happy with the quality. It assembled great. Everything lined up perfect, and we might have a couple adjustments to make, like this. We might loosen up a couple bolts here and try to push this up, but overall it went together pretty well. Now we tried to do the cleanest install we could as far as making all the bolts and everything the same direction. We got the bolts going from the inside out. There are gaps like this at every seam. It's a little bit larger than ideal, but it looks like we'll be able to put some caulking in there. Now this is the entrance. I'm gonna actually put the man door, the hinges bolted on that side, so it swings open from this direction, and I can walk in and then close the door tight. And then there's our exhaust for any particles that come off or come into the room. This is the 24-foot booth. Keep in mind you can get this in a 27 or a 30, and I believe even longer than that if you wanted. They just pretty much use the same plan except for extend it longer. All right, guys, luckily we had access to this scaffolding outside, so we put it together and brought it on in, and it really did help us as far as assembling the ceiling and the little side panels there where the lights go. Definitely having more than one extra hand is ideal. I mean, 4 people is probably the best case scenario on this install. Now the instructions are pretty basic. They don't really have much information except for just showing you the panel numbers, and you pretty much just have to use your common sense to assemble this from M-tek. It pretty much goes together really easy, and it's pretty clear on how it goes together. And if you're not sure, you can reflect to this blueprint. Now, one thing I did notice when we were putting this together is they're showing 2 blanks and then a light, and then 1 blank and a light. On the opposite side, they're showing 2 blanks, a light, and 2 blanks and a light, versus 1 blank and 2 blanks between that light. They're showing a smaller section, and keep in mind this is a 24-foot booth, so the 27 and 30 might be different, as well as they might utilize some of these same plans for those longer booths. So I believe that they may have done this to help the lighting in the booth, but I went ahead and changed it and decided that we should put it to where there's 2 panels and then a light, and then 2 panels and a light on both sides. as well as the ceiling, we did the 2 longer pieces at the beginning, and we're gonna have the shorter pieces on the back. Please think about how you're gonna lay out the lights. Maybe they got some sort of reasoning on why they do that, but I didn't like it, so I changed it. So I think I'm gonna be pretty happy with this. I just feel like once we throw those instructions away and the booth's all done and lit up, looking in the windows and then seeing the lights all off-centered, I feel like it would look like it was assembled wrong versus it looking more symmetrical. And I feel like the light will project better if it's more symmetrical. You can see here on our table, we still have lots of bolts and nuts and some more Mtek screws to install. I believe that probably not all these bolts get used, but probably the majority of them. There's some fatter Mtek screws and some slightly smaller Mtek screws. These have the 3/8 head and these are 5/16. I'll show you guys inside here. On the exhaust housing, this fascia header panel, it didn't have holes on the backside. It just had real small holes here, so the smaller Mtek screws fit there. So I'm assuming they just kind of wanted you to bolt it up there with the 1/4" bolts and then use the smaller Mteks to just screw into that. So, and then as well as the back panel here, there's no holes there. So when this is all said and done, and we have it anchored to the concrete, we will slide this where we want it, center it, and then we'll sink some screws. And also up there, we just have to run Mtek screws. But we don't want to run Mtek screws in there yet because it's not technically squared up on the ground all the way yet. So we'll get that done here soon. So here's a better shot on the inside of how the lights are more centered. See how centered that light is between that wall? If I had the shorter panel in there, that light would be about right there. And it wouldn't have been quite as even. When you guys are assembling this, think about how you want to lay out those lights and these panels on the walls, because it seems like there's a couple different options depending your preference. Here we still have, here's the shorter panels. Here's the rest of the intake grates. Here's the man door back here with the saran wrap on it still. And that's part of the ceiling as well. And here's the other parts of the intake box. So the intake's actually kind of double filtered. You'll have pre-filters and then the intake filters on the booth on the ceiling on the inside, and then filtered again through the exhaust. And then here's a couple more ceiling panels. Now those ceiling panels are probably gonna go on top of the intake box versus being exposed on the inside of the booth. And then also we have the booth doors. Those are very heavy, so we'll probably have to have a few extra hands putting those up. All right, I'm just gonna give you guys one more little walk around. There's the face of the booth. And there's the side that we hugged that beam right next to our lift. Probably jumping the gun a little bit, but I did cut a big Nitro Autolab decal already. And I'm probably gonna stick it up there here in a little bit. All right guys, what do you think so far? I'm pretty pumped, we're pumped. So that's one day. I think I will do a little more filming later on at the end of the day and show you guys what we completed on day 2. Now, we are probably a couple less hands than we were yesterday, as well as maybe not quite as much time, but we will give you guys an update at the end of the day. All right. It's the end of day 2, and this is about how far we got. We didn't really put in a full day. We had some customer jobs to do, of course, so we didn't get as much time as we wanted on the booth, but we did hit a great stopping point. We were able to complete the intake box. So you can see right here, it's got spots for pre-filters as well as the main filters, and then exhaust filters. So you can see we definitely have a lot of bolts left, but it's kind of obvious that this booth probably doesn't utilize all of them. We do have Mtek screws for the doors and the hinges. It does show 5 holes per hinge, and the instructions show that the hinge will be on the outside. I believe I'll probably Mtek screw it at first, but I might remove one hinge at a time drill out the holes and actually insert a nut cert right there and install bolts, lock washers, and washers to properly fasten the door. One thing the instructions didn't tell you to do is please have a skinny friend, because you're going to want to send your skinny friend up there and put in all the nuts and bolts. So there's the intake box, guys. This is a semi downdraft spray booth. So the intake's on the top, goes down over your vehicle that you're spraying and out the exhaust. Well, I still have lots to do, but you can see that we have a lot less panels on the side of the booth now, and we actually have some room to walk down here. We still got to mount the doors. We got a little white magnetic paper towel holder, courtesy of Harbor Freight. Now, not all their stuff's very good, but this type of stuff there is actually pretty good. So also got a white glove box holder and some rubber gloves, which are hard to come by during this COVID stuff, so had to take advantage while I could. I wanted it to look clean with the white. We'll have the door swing open, swing shut. Inside the booth, I'll probably plumb the air line and over here and mount a hose hanger either on that wall or that wall, and depending on what looks good on the eyes. And I'm thinking about putting like some sort of like maybe stainless workbench or a white little tiny tabletop, just a little perch, just in case I want to ever come in here and I don't want to exit and I want to mix up some clear or some base coat or do something where I don't want to exit the room to mix paint. I want to have a little option to where I can have a little table in here, so that might be kind of nice. All right, guys, tell me what you think about it. You can leave a comment. I'll answer any questions you guys have to the best of my knowledge. And we're still working on the fire marshal permit, as well as getting the permit from the Clean Air Agency here. And pretty much all they want is money and some information, but we did partially pay so we can get paperwork rolling with them. I'll keep filming and fill you guys in on the next one. Stay tuned for the next video, and hopefully we'll have lights, doors, and filters, wired fan, exhaust through the roof, and all the way buttoned up to the point where we can use this thing. So it'll probably take maybe 2 or 3 more videos, maybe more, I don't know, maybe less. But I'm hoping by the end of next week to have a pretty much fully operational booth. So please click that subscribe button and like this video, leave comments. I'll be happy to answer anything I can, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.